So Buzz, we were talking about the stat of y'all being 10-1 when Boot scores 20. Is that just a coincidence, do you think, or is there more to it than that?
I don't know if I would say it was a coincidence. He's a good player, and I would say it typically means that he's relieving some pressure from other guys that allows them to be better as well. You could probably say it the other way too, would be my guess. What's our record when he's doesn't score double digits? I would say it's just as bad going the other way as it is when he's good and we're 10-1.
I don't think in your career you've had a team that's had 6 straight 10 or less turnover games. How unique is that, and why do you think y'all are been so good at that as of late?
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I think our guys have been really good at listening to the staff in regards to how important turnover rate is, how important offensive rebound percentage is, how important free throw rate is, and how all of that ties into helping overcome where we're struggling offensively. I'd have to think about it just for a minute. I think in conference play only, across the country, we're 14th in the country at not turning it over. We're first in the SEC in not turning it over. We're first in the league in offensive rebound percentage. We're first in the league in free throw attempt rate. And so I understand that it's not always aesthetically pleasing, but us not giving the ball to the other team allows us to at least miss a shot, have a great chance to get an offensive rebound, and then, as I was talking last night, and then potentially get fouled. I think the other piece to that I pay attention to, we call live ball turnovers gas. So if we're going to turn it over, we don't want it to be a live ball turnover. And so, like so many other things, how can we simplify the words that we use and maybe create pictures in their mind? When you give the ball to the other team and the whistle hasn't blown, that's gas for them, which leads to transition, which now hurts our defensive numbers. So it's all tied together. But I think our staff has put our guys in a really good position to be able to do those things. Yes, we need to make more shots, but for a team that's playing with less ball handlers at times because of offensive rebounding, the guys that are primary ball handlers have been great. Like, I think H is second on our team in turnovers in SEC play and first in live ball turnovers. And he would tell you that, like he knows that. So I'm not being critical of H, but I think it's just the awareness within the program, how vital and how critical each possession is. 4 is going to lead our team in turnovers because 4 is the quarterback and has an enormous amount of pressure on him. But our team has done a good job of making sure we at least get shot attempts. And when we can offensive rebound and not turn it over, it at least gives us a chance to shoot more balls than the opponent, which is always good. And we hope that that trends towards, because we don't give the ball to the other team, we get fouled more.
Is there a through line for teams that are good at not turning the ball over? Is it more mental? Is it being in the right place? Or is that something that you can kind of sort together?
I think that there's only 2 players in my career that I've ever called their number, 4 and 5. And 5 could deliver the ball on time, on target. as well as any fringe NBA player in the country when he was in college. And he would read that tag, and the ball was in flight. And it was in flight to the shooter's pocket. I think the one thing that Ford does really well is when he delivers the ball, he's delivering the ball in a position where they don't have to make a decision. And if you look at some of Ford's turnovers, and he gets frustrated if you watch his body language, I would say half of his turnovers in regards to true basketball people are not his turnovers. He's literally giving them the ball where there is no decision. They didn't catch it, etc. And I think that's one of Ford's gifts is delivering it at the last moment in time where all decisions have been removed because he's making all of them before he delivers it. And that's a skill that's not a stat, and I think he does a really good job with that. Henry, H, Solo, Andy, Wildens, even Jace. The reason why Ford's assist numbers are not good, or our teams, is because we're not making shots.
The last time you played Missouri, it was pretty much won on the free throw line. Do you anticipate this game kind of being similar? And how much, when you're playing these mirror opponents, does your game plan change from game 1 to game 2?
Yeah, I don't know. I mentioned this the other day. Every league is a little different. In the Big East, it was an imbalanced schedule, just like it was in the ACC. There is some constant mirror opponents here, and then obviously 2 rovers. What we do is we study what our preparation was going into game 1. What did we discover? What did we do in 2 days? What did we do in 1 day? What did we practice? And then we watch the game. And then from that, before we go to anything else, we try to deduct, this was right, this was good, this was wrong, this was bad. And then we watch all of the games after that. Every situation's different. I think when we played LSU this year, we played them literally 2 weeks later. I think that's what's close to happening tomorrow. We had a bye date. They've played 3 games since we played. We've played 3 games since we played. There's some mirror opponents we've yet to even play. So I'm not saying that that's right. That's just kind of how we do it. We expect it to be a 1 or 2 possession game, just like every other game that we've played. They played more zone against us than any other team. I think Coach is brilliant. So I don't know exactly how they'll play or what they'll do, but as best we can, we hope that we're prepared for whatever comes our way.
Do you feel the need to remind your guys that even though Missouri's lost 9 in a row, that you got to take them seriously? Or are they mature enough now, in your opinion, that they already know that?
Yeah, I think after all that we've been through over the last few weeks, I think they understand. I'm not putting words in their mouth, but I think that they're, regardless of opponent and regardless of locale, if you take away the first 2 games in SEC play, the next 6 have been eerily similar, regardless of who we've played and where we've played. And so just based on the math, we anticipate that's probably what it'll be again tomorrow. I think they've played 3 games. They've lost by 8, 7, and 7 since we've played them. I think we beat them by 6. Mm-hmm. So 6, 7, 6, 8, 7, 7, I think is what those 4 games would be.
When y'all are getting to the line throughout the game, in terms of building confidence, how has it kind of evolved, I guess, for the guys who've been on the team and the guys new this year, for them to kind of see the things that y'all are doing well, offensive rebounding, getting to the free throw line, and even if, actual made field goals aren't happening, that's not necessarily holding them back from feeling like, okay, we're in control of this game, we're kind of dictating things the way we, are able to.
Yeah. In our first 13 games, I wouldn't necessarily say that we were stellar in regards to field goal percentage. I do think over the next 10 games, it'll come back to the mean a little bit. But after the first 13, if we're only talking about the 8 that we've played in conference, we have struggled making shots. To our guys' credit, they want to make shots, and we hope they make shots, and we practice making shots. But the toughness required to play to the recipe that we always talk about and do what we're trying to do defensively, I think that speaks to their toughness. When we played Missouri, we had 9 turkeys. That's the most ever that we've had. Against Ole Miss, we had 6 going into the last media timeout, finished with 6. And despite the crazy ending on Saturday, the last possession was the 3rd stop of our 7th turkey. I just think that's, hey, never give the ball to the other team. And when we shoot it, we have to get half of them. And then no matter what, do what we need to do to be the first team in the bonus for both halves. And then we need to get, for sure, 7 turkeys to have a chance. We got to do all of that in hopes that it's a 1-point or 1-possession game. So I understand the numbers, but in a demented way, I really respect our guys and their resilience and their fight and their togetherness, despite what you're mentioning.
Because of all these one possession wins or losses, how big do you think Saturday's win was in regards to just confidence and momentum building?
Yeah, I think we're doing a better job of just embracing that this is what it's going to be. I don't think that we're trying to run away from that. I actually don't think that there's anybody in our group thinking, hey, if we could make 9 or 10 threes, we wouldn't have to play so hard. I don't think anybody's thinking, hey, we're playing Missouri and this is good. It's not going to be as hard. I don't get that sense at all. I think that partly because of their experience, mostly because of their relationship with one another, I think they're ultra aware of all that has transpired. And I think we have matured to the point that let's not try to play Saturday's game today. And let's not even try to hurry up and get on the plane to go to Columbia. We have a lot of things we got to accomplish in the film room. And we have a lot of things that are prepared with purpose on what we need to accomplish on the court. In a sick way, sick being like the way our players would use it. I need to get off that. That's bad. Like they're beginning to think this is fun. And despite the life that it's taking from me, that they think it's fun is actually life-giving to me. Like, oh, okay, well, it's fun. It's not fun, but that they think that it's fun, that we've kind of maneuvered everything for them to think, yep, that's what it's going to be. Rock's been really good within the program in that specific regard. don't dodge it. Don't act like it's not going to happen. We know it's going to happen. So work really hard on the days that we're supposed to work. And on the day off a week that we get, literally do nothing but sleep. But when it's time to play, as soon as the ball's in there, just know that for the next 3 hours, every single thing is going to be a fight. And I think that our guys have done really good embracing that. And Rock said that to me 10 or 12 different ways that has been really healthy and nourishing as well.
One more back on the turnovers.
Yeah.
One of the last A&M teams that was really good in this regard was 06-07. I know that's when you were at
06, 07.
New Orleans your first year.
Yeah, and so I'm saying this respectfully. Obviously, I was very involved with every player that was on that team. I think Coach did a great job in regards to the value of a possession. He probably went about it a little different than I did. We were much more front court heavy in 06, 07. That'd have been Joe, that'd have been AK. Josh would have been a real player by then. Neek was a real player by then. Sloan was turning into a real guy. D-Row was turning into a real guy. BD could get a basket for you. A lot of really good players. And I also think, you know how if you looked at our 8 games, I'll say some of them wrong. LSU game 1, we had 12. At Auburn, we had 19. At Arkansas, we had 2. Versus Ole Miss, we had 10. That means the other 4 games that I haven't named were all single digits.
9, 2, 6, 9, 10, 8.
Yeah. And so to average 8.9, that's really good. And when only half of those are live ball, to me, that's even better. I actually think to some degree, Travis, and you've heard me talk about some of this, and I think the previous coach that was sitting in this chair Saturday mentioned it. When we can be in our front court press, it allows us to control the pace the way we want. And if you looked at all 5 seasons, minus the COVID season, and you looked at those 4 seasons, our pace of play has been up and down relative to the personnel we've had and the depth that we've had. But the one thing that helps us regulate it is that. And now, as impressive as the 8.9 is, the percentage of that is whatever it is, 13 and a half or whatever it is. I'm like, whew, that's really good. But I didn't know you were going to ask about this today. I literally talked about, that was one of my points this morning when I started on the gas. Guys, we can't give them gas because they're good at creating gas and how they play. There's some, Coach Gates calls it, he has a name for it in their pressure defense, but we can't turn it over.
I want to ask about Henry and just, I guess maybe the key for him to get back to where he was the first 8-9 games of the season. And I guess, do you see that stretch as just like a heater for him, or you think he's able to kind of get back to where that was?
Yeah, just because I don't talk about what happens with our guys, Henry's injury was real. And do I think he's 100% today? Closer. Set out the game. and then found out a little bit more about what it was 4 days later. I think he played 10 minutes at LSU and did nothing. But if he doesn't play those 10 minutes, we don't win. I think 4 was in foul trouble that game. So now we are really stressed. And those 10 minutes, just his spirit, his energy, he's an elite level communicator. He knows exactly what we're doing. His numbers haven't been perfect. Solo has played great. And if you look at what Solo has done in our 4 wins versus our 4 losses, a distinct parallel in winning and losing relative to Solo. But I visited with Henry a little bit on Sunday. I would say today was actually his best practice in a long time. Similar to Boots, they've been cleared, but their injury, because they are both very physical players, I think caused maybe timidness, if that's the appropriate word, not timidness from a mental standpoint, timidness relative to, I don't want to get hurt again. And Boots nor Henry, and in truth, I'm not sure any of our guys, Jace couldn't, four gets banged around like bumper cars. Wilden's, that's really what he does. Andy wants that. So I don't know that anybody could, but when Henry can't be physical, Henry's not going to be very good. And so we need Henry to be Henry tomorrow. But we need Henry to be Henry mentally, and he is, emotionally, and he's been a little up and down because he knows how important he is to us. And I think now that he's better physically, I'm hoping that he can turn the corner because we need him to.
Buzz, I don't know if anyone showed.
He was minus 11 at halftime against Florida. Had the worst plus minus of any player in the gym. We can't absorb that. He's too important to us.
I don't know if anyone showed you, but Quentin Jackson had 40 points.
He did.
A couple days ago. And
He texts me nearly every day. He's been texting me all day today.
He had a big game.
Yeah, I don't ever talk to him about ball.
G League Player of the Week. So
He was?
Yeah.
Way to go, Q. Good for him. Yeah, I talked to a lot of those guys here and that we've coached elsewhere, and I'd never talked to them about ball. Literally, I don't even mention ball. But Q texted. We've been texting all day today. He texted me on Sunday. I talk to him 4 or 5 times a week, and but he never talks about Texas A&M basketball, and I never. What's the name of his team?
Chicago, like the Windy City.
Windy City something. Yeah. He was Player of the Week in the G League, huh? Good for him.
All right.